All right. So, as you all know, Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away yesterday, and a lot of Democrats are despondent. That's, of course, not how I roll. I immediately want to get constructive and show you guys how Democrats can actually stop the Republicans from filling Ruth Bader Ginsburg's seat. What you'll see in the press from everywhere else right now is, oh, no, it's not possible. And soon you will hear the Democrats saying there's nothing we can do. So I want to preempt that because that is not true. And I want to tell you exactly what legal procedures that they could use to actually stop the Republicans. So first, I want to make crystal clear, look, don't ever miss the live show. No matter what happens, that's always at 6 o'clock Eastern. There's so many different ways to watch this live. You could do it through any of the platforms that we're on: Pluto, Roku, Zumo, Comcast, Samsung. You name it, we're on it. We have 24-hour channels on all those. It's 6 o'clock Eastern. You could always watch us live there. Wow, Manuel Fernandez, thank you so much for using YouTube Super Chat. Ariel Apuhi, sorry about the name. Thank you for being a member. I can see your guys as I'm doing a live video. The other ways to watch live are, of course, youtube.com/TYT. And then you can go to our app, the TYT app, or go to our website at tyt.com/live. Okay, the reason I tell you all that is because we're going to have humiliating video of Lindsey Graham on Monday, and I don't want you to miss it. And we're going to tell you the hypocrisy of Ted Cruz and Mitch McConnell and all of them. So it's going to be totally packed show on Monday. Don't miss it. We're going to break down all of that for you guys. But now I want to tell you guys about what we can proactively do. So here are the 5 things Democrats can do. Number 1, they can ask for unanimous consent on every vote there is in the Senate between now and November 30th. Let me pause. Why do I say November 30th? The election's on November 3rd, but inauguration is in January. The new Senate gets seated on January 3rd. So why November 30th? November 30th is when, if Mark Kelly wins that seat, Senate seat in Arizona, which right now he stands an excellent chance of doing. He's the Democrat that would unseat the incumbent Republican Martha McSally. That is a special election, unlike the other elections, because it's to fill a seat. And so in that case, he could be seated. He could theoretically be seated as early as November 30th. There's a lot of asterisks there, but that is possible. So how can Democrats delay until then? Because remember, of course, the Republicans delayed Merrick Garland for a year. So can the Democrats do it for a couple of months to pay back that favor? And just more important than any political score settling is, it's fundamentally unfair that a Democratic president didn't get to fill a Supreme Court seat he had every right in the world to fill. And now a Republican president on his way out is saying, oh yeah, I'm going to fill it. And of course, Trump and Mitch McConnell immediately jumped in. And now Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham have as well, saying, we're going to fill it. We don't care what kind of liars we are. We don't care what kind of hypocrites we are. We don't care about anything we said in the past. All we care about is raw power. We're going to take that seat. So the Democrats have to counter likewise. Now, historically, they're terrible at doing that. And they usually just roll over. That's why I'm giving you this advice and why the delay is important until you can actually block it with the right number of votes. And the reality is they might have to go all the way to January 3rd to make sure that that happens and they block the GOP filling this empty Supreme Court seat. So there's a lot of votes in the Senate between now and then. And if you ask for unanimous consent, that means they've got to have quorum and they have to have 50 senators sitting in there the entire time voting to proceed. And that will greatly slow things down. Look, that is a bare minimum. They should do it on every vote. You could use hashtag block every vote if you want. And I will too, as soon as I get off here and in explaining this, okay? There's absolutely no reason not to do that. The only reason not to do that is because Chuck Schumer wants to be polite to Republicans. That would be insane. No, block every vote. Now, you can't, at the end of the day, it's a delaying procedure, and so they might be able to get some votes in, but at least that's the whole point here. They ran out the clock on you for over a year. And honestly, look, I can't help but being who I am, right? The Democrats were losers. They just let the Republicans steamroll them for over a year not filling that Merrick Garland seat. Every Democrat that was involved in that process is totally guilty of that. Chuck Schumer, yes, Barack Obama, yes, you should have filled that seat. It was preposterous weakness not to fill that seat. So that's step one. That's the easiest step. Number two, this is where the Democrats are going to start getting so nervous. There's two really important pieces of legislation that need to pass, okay? So one is lifting the debt ceiling. The other is a continuing resolution, which is basically the budget. Now, for those two, Republicans hold those hostage all the time, whenever they feel like it. Oh, yeah, we don't like immigrants. We're holding it hostage. We don't want you to spend money on Americans. We're holding it hostage. We want you to give more money to ExxonMobil and Lockheed Martin. We're holding it hostage, right? So now in this case, Democrats can reasonably say, we're not going to do anything until you guys stop any nonsense about voting for a Supreme Court seat you have no right to decide. We're about to have an election. We're about to have one. The person who wins that election should clearly be the person who decides who's going to pick that Supreme Court seat. This is not a year out. This is 6 weeks out. And that is, and now the American people get to decide a Supreme Court seat more clearly than they have ever decided it. It's on the ballot in a sense. Omar or Gaius, thank you for becoming a Young Turks member right here. You could hit the join button below if you're watching on YouTube, and you instantly become a member, and there's different layers where you get extra videos. Thank you guys. You make this show possible. Okay, so now in terms of, by the way, if you're going to do that too, tyt.com/go. So I don't know anybody else right now telling Democrats what they could do to actually block it. Now, the reason, I'm going to be honest with you, the reason MSNBC isn't going to do that is because MSNBC takes its talking points from the Democratic Party, and the Democratic Party doesn't want you to know that there is actually things they could do to block the Republicans, because then there's going to be pressure on them by the public, by you guys, to actually do those things. And so that's why it'll take MSNBC a long time before they actually get to this, and that'll be only because of pressure put on by folks like you guys. So we are, through you guys, are your voice, the progressive voice. tyt.com/go is so important to keep that voice strong. So now, if they block those things, wait a minute, you're going to say, how can the Democrats in the Senate block it? They don't have enough votes. But you need the House to pass those. So Democrats have the House. They have it super comfortably. So if they say, no, if you guys are going to vote on a Supreme Court justice, we will not raise the debt ceiling, and we will not agree to a continuing resolution to fund the budget. Boom. Problem solved. But we also have corporate donors, and we also have union donors, and the unions also have federal government employees, and the federal government employees could be jeopardized if we don't do these things, etc. And the unions and the donors and the corporations and the donors. No. Just let's be super clear. It looks like if the Democrats want to block the Republicans, they can block the Republicans. So don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And by the way, this is all verifiable. You can go online, you can check it for yourself. I always tell you guys, make sure that you're not just using one news source. Make sure you're verifying things, including us, okay? So now there's two other things they could do. Now, each one of these gets harder. To me, if I was running things, I know, funny. I'd do these in a second, and I wouldn't blink. So the only thing that takes priority over confirmation hearings, and we'll give you all the details. I'm giving you the big broad picture right now. We'll give you the details on a live show, 6 o'clock Eastern, every day, Monday through Friday. So the only thing that takes priority for now, to oversimplify, confirmation hearings is impeachment hearings. Well, you can say, well, Cenk, we already impeach him? Yeah, so what? There's no limit on how many times you can impeach the president. Sherry Townsend, thank you for becoming a Young Turks member. So we could impeach him again and again and again. And by the way, we have all of the reasons in the world. Here's for a campaign finance violation on mistress number 1. Campaign finance violation on mistress number 2. Daniel Garcia, thank you for becoming a member or upgrading. We love you for it. Here is the law that you broke on the Hatch Act. And I can give you 5 at a minimum. Viola Brown, thank you so much for becoming a Young Turks member. I can give you 5, but if I stretched, I could easily give you 12 legal violations that they could easily impeach Donald Trump for. And Joseph Scriba, yes, fight, fight, fight. That's what we're trying to do here, guys. Through all of us working together, we're trying to give the Democrats both the vision, the pathway, and the courage to actually fight. So if you send new impeachment charges, the Senate doesn't have a choice. They must then take those up. That's the rules. So will the Democrats have the courage to do it? If they get rolled, understand that they made a choice to get rolled. Okay, now what's the fifth thing? This is the nuclear option. Hillary Clinton. Wait, what? What do you mean Hillary Clinton? 9 Supreme Court justices is not in the United States Constitution. Jamie, Danielle, thank you for becoming a Young Turks member. Again, hit the join button below. It's so easy, and you make our voice stronger. And we need to reach the Democrats. We need to reach the rest of the media and make them understand these things. So, and make sure that they're being honest with you guys. All right, so what in the world? Hillary Clinton. So the fact that it's 9 Supreme Court justices is just statutory. That means it could be changed by law. So if the Democrats get the House, the Senate, and the presidency, which at this point, according to the polling, seems not just likely, but very likely, they can say, okay, if you guys are going to fill that seat, that's totally illegitimate. So we're going to add more seats to the Supreme Court, and we're going to fill them. Oh, but that seems somewhat unfair. You're perfectly allowed to do that, and the law says you can, and you can get rid of the filibuster just like the Republicans did on the Supreme Court seat. So you can do you could completely do that. There's nothing wrong with it. It's totally legal. But us Republicans will cry that it's unfair. Great, wonderful. I don't care. I want you to cry. So wouldn't it be great if Democrats were strong? So, okay, so we're going to, look, I don't know that I want to expand the Supreme Court. That's why I have it as the 5th option. A lot of people are talking about it as the 1st option. Why? Because it kicks the ball down the field, okay? It kicks the can down the field. So what that means is they want to say, oh, there's nothing we can do, but we'll threaten to do something at a later date if. Now, do you think they're actually going to do it? I don't think they're actually going to do it. Okay, but should they? Yes, but that's only after they exhaust the first 4 options. So now what does Hillary Clinton have to do with any of this? Well, the first person we're going to nominate is Hillary Clinton for the Supreme Court. Now, if you're a progressive, you probably don't love that choice. I don't really love that choice. So why am I proposing it as a progressive? The reason is because it will make Republicans' heads explode. You can do anything you like, but if we have the presidency and we have the Senate, Hillary Clinton is 100% going on the Supreme Court. Go ahead, I dare you. Fill the seat, I dare you. Fill the seat. Maybe we'll do Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. Now, the reality is, I know they're both, Bill Clinton's definitely too old. Hillary Clinton could be symbolic. She could step down 3 years later and we could fill the seat with someone else. That's not the point. The point is, if you're going to go nuclear, we're going to go nuclear. Hillary Clinton is a perfectly brilliant lawyer. I've got other problems with her, but her legal expertise is not among them. Will she do a good job on the Supreme Court? She probably would. And would that be an effective threat against the Republicans? Hell, yes, it would. So, hashtag Hillary Clinton on the Supreme Court, or however we do the hashtag. But the bottom line is, don't let them lie to you. They have many options to stop the Republicans from filling that seat. So they better get to it. They better fight hard. So to me, there's only 2 options. Either Democrats finally fight hard for you. And by the way, none of this affects their corporate interests. So it's actually all layups. It's easy to do, except when you get to the budget. That affects their corporate interests. That's the one they're going to be least likely to do just because they're kiss asses to corporations and their donors. But in reality, there's no reason why they can't do them. The only reason is courage. So you either do these actions and you block the seat. I don't care how you do it. Block the seat. Otherwise, you're going to let the Republicans take over the Supreme Court for the next 30 years and have a 6-3 majority. All of our priorities, not just Roe v. Wade, but all civil rights, voting rights, and all those corporate interests steamrolling us, Citizens United becoming permanent, all that is on the line. If you can't get it done, then we're going to primary you not just because you're wrong ideologically and you're out of step with Democratic voters ideologically, but also because you're incompetent. You let Donald Trump walk into the White House. You lost 1,000 seats over a decade. And then on top of that, if you lose the Supreme Court for 3 decades, there is no disputing how epic a failure the Democratic leadership is. So it hasn't happened yet. They have the ability to do it right going forward. So that's why we don't Monday morning quarterback. We tell you ahead of time. We are constructive. Now, if they do blow it, the New York Times, NPR, CNN, and all the mainstream media will cover for them. Oh, no, I beseech you, don't punish Pelosi or Schumer. There was nothing they could do. The New York Times will scream over and over again. If they do that, which is very likely, they are lying to you on purpose. They know the same facts that I do. By the way, it is embarrassing that they haven't even written, none of the mainstream has even written this article yet, because they're worried about putting the Democrats on the line. So you guys get the message out and embarrass them into action, both the media and the corporate Democrats. Because if we lose this seat, there is no getting it back for 20, 30, or even more years. So let's go fight together, and let's try to get the Democrats to win, even if they're not naturally inclined to do so. Thank you to everyone who became a member, who is a member, like 420 JR Man. I see all of your names, and I'm empowered by your names, by the fact that you guys trust us and have faith in us, and you make us stronger, and together we fight. All right, let's go block that nomination. Thank you, guys.